Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Hey, guys. It's good to be on with you today.
Yes, it is, sir. Jerry, after the game, I hadn't heard this phrase. You said there's going to be some jewelry or some jewels after this win. What does that mean?
Well, it really meant that, look, this game, while they have a really outstanding team, because they are world champ, because we did have that stage to play on, and because of our story this year, this game really has any more impact to our team than just your average win. And I've often, with a smile, talked about, hey, let's do this and let's put a little touch on it, put a little spice, whatever, and let's add some jewelries to this thing. And let's dress it up. Well, this game had all of that trappings, and that was my way of expressing, let's get us some jewelries. Not jewelry, jewelries.
So, look, last week you told us you've been criticized for your optimism this year, to own it. I've been one of them. I'm like, no, Jerry's always half glass full. But, Jerry, you got the dream scenario as we're sitting here with the start to this year. Is 4-1 and the way it's happened with Cooper Rush why you always believe in the 1 + 1 = 3?
Well, I just think that it's easy to analyze and say, well, we've got a negative here, we've got a positive here. We always do it. I do it. The really intangible that goes with this game. This game, the strongest or the fastest does not always win in football. It has everything to do with calling on it inside, having an extra motivation, playing. If you got the flu, playing over the flu, as an example. And so when you have adversity, that can kick in this game. The game is built to allow for that to improve you and overcome some adversity. And so you have people that play with the flu. You say, my goodness, they couldn't get up out of bed. They'll go out and have their best grade. So that I think that we have really responded to adversity that has created real, if you will, passionate depth, and I believe we're going to be able to call on that. Put it like this. Let's suppose you just played these first games just to build the attitude of the team, to build that kind of resolve, to build when you're tired, make this next play and keep your mind on what you're doing. Don't make a mistake. This has inspired us. It's certainly inspired me for these players to respond to adversity this way. I think you'll see our quarterbacks, certainly Dak, continue to be, and he is, responding to this team playing, getting together in a rough time, bonding together, handling it from within, and becoming a better team because of it.
Jerry, after having a couple days to think about the win, what were your other overall thoughts from that great game in L.A.?
Well, I thought that the crowd was so impressive. I was so proud. We've always had a great following in Los Angeles. Has everything to do with the fact that we go out there and do our training camp for the better part of for almost 50 years, really. And so we've got generational support out there, and it shows up when we play. I remember in '92 we went out there, I think it was '92, and played the Raiders, and we were in the Coliseum. And really, I think we outdrew them. I wouldn't want to be specific, but it was close. And it felt like you were at Texas Stadium at the time. So Los Angeles has a special spot for the Cowboys. The Southern California does. And we get to have that benefit when we go out there and play.
Jerry Jones joined us here on 105 through the Fan. Mike McCarthy had said that this is a defense first operation. They kind of said that in the spring. Do you agree with that? And is that the way to win in today's NFL?
Well, I think that if you do have good defense, as you know, the NFL is structured to get big plays, principally offensive plays. And they're continuing to have to make the rules so that you give the chance to have the big plays, which would be looked at from the offensive side of the ball. The facts are that when we made our final cuts on our squad and got it down to 53, we had the most defensive players out of that 53 that I can ever remember, ever. And it was really lopsided. If you look at how we use our resources, if you will, our money, our salary cap, we have really, in the allocation, we have really evened that up this year. And so we've got some really outstanding players. We've got some veteran players that have really made a mark on this team. That hooker at safety is having a great year. And frankly, he played well as he got away from his Achilles repair. He played well. Those guys, coupled with the younger players that we have on defense, really let us fly around. It's got a lot of speed. It's got a lot of length. Those players out there are built for Dan Quinn's defense, and we're seeing the result.
Jerry, I'm having a hard time with a football debate that many are discussing with the Cowboys. To me, it doesn't make sense, and I need your help. A lot of people are saying when Dak comes back, we want the Cowboys to play this way. You know, we want the defense to win it first. Run game, time of possession. And to me, I'm saying, well, y'all led the league in points last year. You got a $40 million quarterback. That doesn't make any sense. Go wide open, score a lot of points. What does that mean to you when you hear that? Or how can you connect the two of the way you're winning versus the way you play when Dak returns?
If you can run the ball and punt good and do not turn the ball over, you are a hard-to-beat team. You're very hard to beat if you don't make mistakes. My first year in 1989 in the NFL, I think the only loss the Washington Redskins had, and they went on and won the Super Bowl, was to us up there. And Berline was the quarterback that particular day. And Jimmy had him almost, rather than try a competitive pass, just throw the ball out of bounds. And we'll kick. And they had a dramatic team, a good team. They had a great offensive line. We kept them on their end of the field. They'd eventually make a mistake. We won, I think, by 6 points. And it was a low-scoring game. But we beat a team that was really significantly better than us. If you don't make a mistake, punt the ball good, and play that field position, even in today's NFL, you're hard to beat. I think that's what we're talking about. We have the skills to play like that. And candidly, during this time when Dak has been absent, we've kind of played that way. Just don't get out there and make those mistakes and run that ball. And so that's been effective for us. Do we want to look like that team as we go forward? We'll see. Dak's pretty capable of going out there and really hitting some big plays. How much will we compromise running the ball? Don't make a mistake. How much will we compromise that as we go through? You got to have a good defense, and you got to be ready to get them out of there on third down a lot, and get them out of there with not too many first downs as you play as you go through the game. I think that's really because we've got that defense. You'll see it like that.
Jerry, is all this kind of an argument against the trend and philosophy of paying quarterbacks? Like, you know, why pay a quarterback $40 million if, you know, you want to punt the ball and run the ball? Like, is this an argument against that?
Well, I think that when you've got an elite, or if you've got a highly skilled, quarterback that by all measurements, make no mistake about it, Dak Prescott has had a good supporting cast during his career. But on the other hand, Dak Prescott does measurable things that is really unique. And, of course, the leadership thing is off the charts. And having said that, we'll take advantage. Do we need that extra spurt in being able to make a game-winning play, one of the big plays, over 20 yards. Do we need that at quarterback? Yes, we do. And thank goodness we're in a situation where we're successful, having really not had that dimension. When we get him back, that'll be a real additive. We'll be a mess if we can keep playing defense like this.
Jerry Jones, the Hall of Famer, every Tuesday with Sean and RJ on the Diamond Factory Hotline. How are you feeling about Dak's status for Sunday against the Eagles?
Well, let's just put it like this. He's got to spin the ball. He's got to really spin the ball. And you just think about it. Put your hand down on something like would be the equivalent of a football. Try to do that without thumb strength. Try to spin that ball. Try to direct that ball without thumb strength if you're really giving a proper throw. You can't do it. But if you do have strength and can grip the ball, then you can spin the ball. Unlike most injuries that you have to have a feel, you have to develop ability to see if the quickness is there, what's the degree of quickness back if you didn't have an injury, all of that. It seems pretty simple to detect. Can he zip the ball out there and make the throw? We'll start working on that Wednesday real hard. He's certainly doing the kinds of things medically that you want to do. That is the indications, the x-rays, all of that, having tremendous improvement. But can he spin the ball? We know Dak Prescott can play, and we know he'll be ready to play the minute he gets a chance to go in the game. Can he spin the ball? We'll see.
So you'll start finding that out tomorrow?
Correct.
Okay. Jerry Jones here on 105 through the Fan. How's Micah Parsons doing, and how are you feeling about him playing?
Well, I think he's certainly impressive that he plays through. He's playing a tremendous number of plays, relatively speaking. He's so impressive to be able to have that type of endurance. He's young, and he's certainly got the will to play through a limitation. And certainly he had some limitations out there Sunday. It looked like he just put it in another gear and took on off. So, frankly, we feel good about his practice today, tomorrow, and the practice for the rest of the week and playing Sunday.
Jerry, it looks like you guys are a lot more physical with the way y'all beat up the Rams and the way you've been playing this year. Do you feel like this year's version of the Dallas Cowboys is a much more physical team than in the past?
Well, if you will run the football, if you can really have some ball control. I was real concerned the first half at time of possession against the Rams, and I thought, now it's not exactly air conditioned in this place. Had a little heat out there. And I thought, boy, we have really expended a lot of energy, and we were way up on time of possession. The Rams were way up on time of possession. Meant the defense has been out there a lot. But, boy, our depth kicked in, the numbers of guys that we can rotate in and out of there, especially at the critical positions up on the front where you're trying to get your line play, your pass rush. And so it expends a lot of energy to make plays up there and stay fresh and not take a play off. That's called depth. Boy, did it kick in out there Sunday. And by the time we got in that fourth quarter, we didn't have a disadvantage at having some leg tiredness. Again, that depth, we've got it. And I've seen it really, when you have it, I've seen it be the difference maker.
Jerry, you've talked to us about some of your superstitions in the past. Mike McCarthy uses mojo, that word at practice. How do you view the whole mojo argument that let's not mess with anything? We're winning. We're rolling. I flushed that argument down the toilet. I said bring in the better player when your quarterback is ready to play. But what do you say to those who say don't mess with this? Something magical is happening with the mojo of this team. Do you weigh that at all?
Yeah. Yes, I do. It had everything to do with what happened when Dak Prescott was a rookie, and Romo was ready to play. And, boy, was he spinning the ball at practice. He was making plays out there at practice that our defense was having trouble defending. He was ready to go. But I found no one, and you just felt it. Don't touch that. Everybody dreams of having the kind of mojo, if you will, that Dak is now. That don't take anything away from technically being able to play. You got to execute. But we had it going, and so we obviously the history shows you we stayed with Dak, and that's the way it is. Don't mess with that chemistry when you get it going like that.
Do you see the NFC East as being back? It's been down for a couple of years. Do you see this as like the resurgence of the conference, the division with 3 teams, 4-1 or better?
Yeah, I think this, first of all, is the most balanced that I can ever remember the entire NFL. And, boy, you really, every time you will go out there, you've got a fight on your hand, and it's probably going to come down to that type of ball game where it can go either way. I think that's what we're dealing with. Consequently, you got to have that depth because you got to absolutely play all the way through the end of the fourth quarter. There seems to be no let up in the way this league is balanced, and I think that's what we've got in our NFC East. And I'm so impressed with really the way Philadelphia has evolved and gotten where they are. That is going to be a real challenge for us up there. They've got the goods, and so we're going up there Sunday. And what is exciting is that I don't know when I've felt any better about going in to the Philadelphia area, even though they've got one of the best teams they've had in years. It's called mojo. We'll overuse that word this morning.
Jerry, what difference have you seen from Jalen Hurts this year compared to Hurts last year?
Well, I think he has really refined. I'm not going to say improved technically because I don't look at him every day, but he's refined. The criticism coming out was that he might not have had the best passing or touch, or he didn't play to throw as opposed to play to run. Well, I think that was short-sighted. He can really make the throwing part of his game an emphasis. He's one of the strongest players that I've ever seen, physically strong, like doing the squats and squatting big amounts of weight. He's one of the strongest people that I've heard about at the quarterback position. He's hard to tackle. And when you have that, does that give you some protection on getting hit? Because when you really emphasize running that ball, that gives you a lot of chances to take a hit. And that should make you vulnerable. He's big enough, he's strong enough that he mitigates that, and then he has improved his, not improved because he just got here. He's made a little bit of he's shown everybody that he does have the knack for throwing that ball. Comes from his dad's a coach, comes from a great football family. He had a great career, if you think about it, in college, and that was impressive. It all adds up. He's a top quarterback.
Jerry Jones joins us here, 105 through the fan. I don't know. I'm sure you saw the game last night, and then over the weekend, there was a couple of roughing the passer penalties, one against Derek Carr, one against Tom Brady, that many thought were ticky-tack. Is that a mandate from the league over the last couple of weeks, especially since the Tua injury, to kind of clamp down on those roughing calls?
Yeah, I think no mandate, nothing that I'm aware of that goes to the clubs. But I think you've got an area that gives rise to some judgment when you say that when the players, the defender as well as the quarterback, land on the ground, if the defender happens to be in position to be on top of him where his weight has a chance to push him against the ground. That's the tricky part here, because the league does not want you to drive your weight and let that 300 pounds or 250 or whatever go into the quarterback. That's when you get your shoulders and your separations and, if you will, even your rib injuries. And so I think that is, at this day and time, I think those are sensitive areas, and you've got to watch that. Well, of course, it's impossible, almost, to go through what you do to rush a passer as a defensive player and go through all the things it takes to get to a quarterback and then be sensitive about those nuances, just getting him down, because if you don't finish it, then he'll get out of your grip, and there he's still making the play.
Right.
Tough call to get those officials to make this judgment. We're going to have to really work hard in that area to improve bad play calling.
Should they be able to review that?
Again, that's the answer. If you've got that sensitive a play, review it. We review the, of course, pass interference. And so my point is that I think that's a big debate on these plays on the competition committee. What is reviewed, what is not. The thing that everybody goes to now is that we're in the best shape we've ever been on reviewing plays. And we have the cameras right. We have the coordination, the best that I've ever seen. When I've voted for replay, I've voted against replay about 3 or 4 different times in my time in the NFL. And I've seen a time when we would do reviews, and on Monday when they were reviewed in the NFL, as many as 25% of them that were changed, they reversed that and said they shouldn't have been changed, 25. And so I said, I'm not voting for this anymore. This is not the way to do it. Then I've reversed ground on it. So if we put it in there, then that's going to be have its own set of challenges and, if you will, compromises on how to make the call. So I'm not giving you a straight answer because I don't have one. But there's no mandated don't touch the quarterback. But is there protection for the quarterback? There is, and I'm for that, and I am for that. But they're going to have to start, call him in the grasp. Let's loosen up, and when they get those hands on him and they have it on it good, blow that whistle quicker, official. Well, how are we going to like that when guys that Dak can escape out of those situations and make a play? So it's a nuance that goes. We're fortunate with the technology and the skill of these officials. We're fortunate to be able to have plays that are tough, but still be able to protect our players and still not affect the outcome of the game. We obviously don't want it to be done with flags, football fields, and officials. Nobody paid to see those come out there and do their thing.
Last thing real quick, we wanted to be the first to wish you an early happy birthday. What are you doing for the big 8-0 on Thursday?
Well, listen, I'll be frank with you. I had my present this weekend and with against the Rams, and really kind of tied that in with my travel partner party a little bit of having that happen to you, and it was fitting. It was out there where I was born, and I don't want to make any less of that, but that made it, as I said, a jury's day when we went out there and beat those world champions in that great venue and have Cowboys every place special. I'll take 2 days after the birthday to have the same kind of celebration that I had in Los Angeles. If I can get that up there this weekend, that's what I want to do. Right there.
How can 80-year-old Jerry celebrate compared to 40-year-old Jerry?
Believe it or not, I want to say to everybody that's 40 years old, to everybody, you can have one hell of a time after you're 40 years old. I'm a living testament to it. And the best times, and I'm talking about just around the world definition of best times have certainly been since I was 40 years old, and I could have a pretty good time before I was 40. But I would hope that everybody could be as fortunate as I've been. Of course, the last 32, 33, 34 years being involved with this football team and getting to do what I get to do every day, that's been one long birthday.
Well said. Happy birthday. This feels like what it's all about, man. Heavyweight fight Sunday night in Philly. Good luck. We'll talk to you next week.
Bad guys. Have a good week.